We is live. Morning Drinkers Podcast. Here we go. Since I'm back drinking.
Saludcita.
Here we go.
Welcome back, Brian.
I got the good bottle of Tequila.
The Tequila. And I'm drinking some carbonated water. And okay, so for these, like the scent or the taste, I feel like there's more scent than taste. It's like if a limoncello farted in this carbonated water can.
I've never had that one.
It's like
you like that one
with hints of cream, like vanilla.
Oh, okay. Actually, that kind of does sound enticing.
Yeah, it's smooth.
That sounds muito enticing. Very good.
Enticing.
Very enticing. Trying to do this little screen record. Boom. And we good.
And tomorrow is Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
So,
what are you doing?
Is this our Valentine's Day edition?
Well, this kind of. That's why I thought it would be funny if we did like we had like a heart or something, but we fucked that up.
Well,
we could draw a heart.
We'll draw a heart.
We could draw a heart.
I mean, draw a heart.
I got a marker for you right here, bitch. Draw us a heart. Wherever. Surprise me.
You can put it in between the three of our names. Well, that's not where our names are at. They're down on the corner.
Well, I threw like a little swirly thing on the bottle.
Yeah, see, there you go. That looks okay. Oh, you're adding here.
Gross.
There you go. See?
Oh, that's actually pretty nice.
Yeah, see? It goes well with the
That
aesthetic.
was real quick too.
I got you, baby. I got you.
You do this often.
I used to burn them quills, bro. But
Okay. Cool. So, this is the recap from a couple episodes back where we had some homework to do.
And we completed.
We completed the homework, and since this was basically a deal between the two of us, I say we let him decide what we discuss first. Because you saw Star Wars, and I saw Cowboy Bebop. So
He had homework too, though.
he didn't watch it.
What are you talking about?
See,
Cowboy
I
Bebop?
knew he fucking forgot. I knew.
Cowboy Bebop?
Nope. You don't even remember the homework.
Oh, Sandlot.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. What platform is it on?
I even said in the
Told you.
last episode, like, you find where it is. I'll watch it.
Fucking
And you
told
even
him.
said, yeah, I'll watch it.
Yeah, I
well,
told him.
next time.
I told him.
Well, next time.
Because this was the episode we did with Jesse.
Mhm.
And I was like, I even said, no, you find it. And then he does chime in saying, like, no, you find it. Fuck the platform.
All right.
You
Yeah.
have to find it.
All
That's
right,
your
all right.
homework.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, I said we talk about Cowboy Bebop.
Okay.
Okay. Since we just listened to some
Right,
cover
exactly.
music.
That's right. We were
exactly.
listening to that. Okay. So, well, I want you to moderate this. Like, what do you
Yes.
want to hear? What do you want to
Okay.
hear from me in regards
Well,
to that? And
Oliver. Okay, so Oliver, when we last spoke, right? You always mentioned how it left an impression on you,
Mhm.
right? The obvious thing is the music, right?
It was the music,
You
yes,
really-
but
you really
the
enjoyed the music.
story and the redemption and the redemption on all characters and like trying to find their, for lack of a better word, origin in a way. Every character's origin of feeling or emotion for their current state in the series.
Mhm.
Like you see it unravel, and it's just so like Faye, like how she lost her memory.
Mhm.
Ed
she doesn't know who her dad is.
doesn't know anything, yeah.
Right.
And then
Wait. I thought it was a she.
she, yeah,
Yeah.
she,
It is a she.
Yeah.
They always, yeah.
Yeah.
Edward.
Edward, yeah. And
Don't even
then
get me started on that.
and then Ein's
cool.
the innocent bystander in all
Right.
this.
Yeah.
And I mean, Spike's story is, I mean, that's the whole show.
Right.
And Jet's like that. I think that's the one that stuck with me the most.
The heartbreak one.
And it's because I told Brian,
He told me like last week.
yeah, and he
Yeah.
was like, no, save it for the pod.
Right.
So,
Okay, so what was it?
so that's when I finally, so I watched Cowboy Bebop back in Hawaii with like my friends, and it made a lasting impression on me then, but not for the deep one that I have now, which is when I bought the Blu-ray and I was like, I'm just gonna power all this through.
Mm-hmm.
I had a lot of time on my hands because it was reflection time because I was going through a very, very bad breakup.
Mm-hmm.
And a theme that Jet's episodes carry was something that I was going through. And Jet goes back to see his girl that he said he was gonna go and then come back for. She gave him like a pocket watch, and he like brings it back, and he's like, no, like we have all this time to make up and everything. And cutting it, like long story short, she ends up saying something like, well, time doesn't stand still. Like, what am I supposed to do? You know,
She
like you're out there doing your thing, and I'm just supposed to sit here and wait. And that whole like theme of time standing still, making use of your time, like
I feel like that just spoke to you in the
that
time,
moment.
in the
Yeah,
time
yeah.
of your life. Yeah.
And it stuck with me the most. And again, like it was the whole, I found a good meaning for it back then, but this one, because of how relevant it was to my life, like how I was able to like almost tangibly connect them, made it so much more significant.
Okay. I mean, so like you said, it was a significant show because you were going through something very significant. So it was good how I guess it aligned, right?
But that's how I gave it importance as well, because there is a whole philosophy to the show as well, like very, very deep, and that's the main purpose of it. But
let's see. This is what I was waiting for. No, finish your thought.
But again,
this is what because then I was gonna say, I was gonna hand it over to him.
Yeah, but the reason why I fell so in love with it is because of, again, the connection I made it to my personal life.
So then let me ask you this next question then. So then when you were going through this, because it is, to you think it's a great show. To me, I think it's a good show. And I even mentioned that to Brian because for various reasons, we won't get into them. But it's a great show to you because it came to you during that time of your life.
And it helped me overcome.
Yeah. So my question is, because Brian, when he commits to something, he commits, right? Like he beat the Legend of Zelda game.
Breath of the Wild?
You beat Breath of the Wild.
The main storyline. Like I wouldn't say like I beat the entire game, but the main storyline is, it took me about like 2 weeks.
Right, exactly. Okay, so even with Cowboy Bebop, I started it with him, but he took off. Like, he got way ahead of me. And so he committed to it, right? So with you, did you it seems to me like, okay, you're going through this thing, then you discover this thing, it sucks you in. So did you like nonstop every day, or was it more like, no, this is a good story, where you literally hooked, like you had to keep going through it?
No, yeah, it was like not like I had to. Look, it was like an addiction.
Okay.
Like,
right.
Okay. All right.
Not to derail too much. That was actually me with Avatar.
Good.
Yeah, which is good. Which I think is
good,
that's how you know you're into it.
Yeah.
Right, of course. Okay. So basically, to you, it is a great show for that reason. Right?
So good show back then, and then rewatching it again became great.
When did you first watch it?
I watched it
in Hawaii?
In Hawaii.
Okay, so you saw it in Hawaii, and then basically around the time you were going through a rough period of time back here, you rewatched
it. I rewatched it.
Okay.
So the other time I saw it, like I saw it with my roommates and friends, like we would watch 2-3 episodes, and then we would meet up again. We would, continue to watch. But this time I like saw it cover to cover, basically.
Can you say you enjoyed it more in Hawaii or here?
I enjoyed it more here because I got to see it alone without distractions as well.
And you related to a specific part.
I related to a specific part.
Right.
But I didn't know that part
was coming
in a way, even though I had seen it before. But the depthness of it, I guess.
Yeah, well, you're seeing it in like from a brand new perspective.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like sometimes I'll revisit music that I used to listen to back in high school. And now that I know a lot more about music, production, it's like I'm hearing it for the first time. And I'm like, whoa. So I could see that that's kind of what was going on.
Right. Okay, so then basically now that we have established, at least for you, why it holds a lot of deep meaning for you, right? And why you think it's great. So, Brian, now as you went through the show, right, I want to know, what was your expectation at first in the beginning? What were you thinking? Because the thing we talked about was that Oliver couldn't get into the whole space genre,
right?
For a few reasons. One is it's difficult for him to suspend the disbelief, to have the lasers and all that. It's too out there. It's not really believable. But this show isn't like that. There's still guns. They still make that kind of sound. Yeah, it's in space.
Yeah,
right? And it's supposed to be in the near future, right?
2072.
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
And so I want to know what was your expectation going in because I'm curious to see if it was the same as his.
I guess expectation in regards to the story or the space, like sci-fi aspect.
No, in general, what were your expectations? Okay, we told you about the show,
right?
Then you watched it on Hulu.
But I watched it on Hulu. But the thing is, you guys actually didn't tell me too many details about the show, aside from the fact that it was like sci-fi, and that it was one, it's like your favorite anime, and two, that it's great because before you started rewatching again, you were actually saying it is a great show. Then you kind of switched your tune. You're like, it's a good show.
It's good.
Right. Yeah. So the expectation was like, okay, this is going to be like super, super dope.
Okay.
And then about 5 episodes in, I remember I texted Diego and I was just like, yo, when does it get good? Because I was like, I don't get it. And there were, I would say there's a total of 26 episodes. And with the exception of, I guess, like the last maybe 4 episodes where there's a cohesiveness to a story arc that's occurring, I would say that it would go like 1 every 5 to 6 episodes was good. And it's just, to me, it was just a lot of filler.
Yeah.
And I understand, I think because the reason is these are all transients. They're all lost boys, so to speak, which is understandable. There's going to be a lot of boredom, and you have these existential thoughts and these narratives, these storylines that happen, and it actually shows the mundaneness of a lot of things. And to me, it's like when I tune into something, like I don't want to see how mundane life can be when I already know that.
Right.
The dealing with being bored and having nothing to do with no set plan. We're like, oh, we got a new bounty to go get. I like that. That to me, I think maybe at a younger age, if I were to watch this as a teen, would have been mind blowing. But I don't know. I discovered that stuff through other mediums a long time ago. So when I was watching this, I was like, okay, like I get it. But maybe as a teen, I would have been like, whoa, this is brand new. This is really, really deep.
I'm gonna look up when the show came
out. This is actually me knocking not the storyline, but production aspect. It was really annoying on the difference between dialogue, sound effects, and music. I was actually constantly having to turn it down or up, and that actually took me out, where I was like, I can't enjoy this because constantly I'm doing this. And so that was annoying. That's like not a knock on the story. Like I said, that was like a production thing. And I was just like, let me try watching it on other things. Like maybe it's just my TV. And I was watching on my phone, iPad. And I was like, no, it was constant. And I was like, this is really annoying. And then the other thing that took me out, and I mentioned this to him, was that, and in some aspects, it was like soft core porn.
Yeah.
Like very, very soft core porn. And hentai cartoon shit, like where like I'm supposed to think like, for example, Faye. There was a shot where they're showing Faye, they start at Faye's like ankles and they go up. Like I started laughing. I was like, I can't take this seriously. Like it took me out, and I was just like, this is stupid. I'm supposed to find this cartoon attractive. Like this is weird to me.
Well, it came out in 98, which is why I'm wondering, like you said, just to touch on it real quick, do you think Brian in 98 would have appreciated it?
No, because it's too, I think at that age, it would have been too deep. Yeah, too adult.
Oh, okay.
I think as a teen. Okay. So if I saw this probably 14 to 16, that age range, I probably would have been like, whoa. Maybe even later, maybe even 18, 19, I would have been like, whoa. When I started reading philosophy and was going to different classes where I was trying to expand my mind. So that was like, so that kind of stuff took me out. The last 4 episodes where they started getting into more so where there was, like I said, the story arc was actually coming together with the Red Dragon Syndicate, and Spike was basically going to go and face Vicious, who had already fucked them up like I don't know how many times before. I was like, all right, cool. Like now there's going to be a conclusion to this, and you kind of see what's happening. When I was watching it, I thought they could have actually just done a dope movie with like these last 4 episodes and added tidbits of their origin stories where, Edward was basically left, but it seemed like an orphanage almost, and like his dad forgot that he left him there. It was like a daycare, forgot that he left her there. They could have also included Faye's backstory where she was, fucking like in like a coma or cryogenically frozen for like 100 years or something. They could have thrown those into the main story, which was Spike's story. And I would have thought that was would have been a better series or movie. But yeah, it didn't hit me. And I remember I powered through and I was like, if I'm giving it 1 out of 10, 6.5, like.
Is that being generous though?
The 0.5 is generous. The 0.5 is generous. For leading up to the final, like I said, 4 episodes, it was a 5. I was like, this doesn't do anything to me.
Yeah.
Like it does. Like, to bring it back to where I was saying Avatar, that's when you know you're hooked. Every time I tuned in to watch it, I felt like I was literally doing work. I was like, I was like literally like, Avatar was like, I can't wait to fucking like throw it on. I can't wait to finish this shit so I could watch that. And that was the difference.
Okay, good. Yeah. I mean, yeah, and that says a lot. I think that says most of it, to be honest. I have to agree with the production. And there's a reason why they give awards for production, for sound, sound engineering and stuff like that, even at the Oscars, right?
Yeah.
So I think that makes sense. So when I was watching it on my phone too, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, as soon as the action starts, the voices were very low. The jet engines, the rockets, the guns, everything was super high. I'm not sure why they decided to do that. I wonder if
I don't know.
Maybe they did that on purpose. I'm not sure.
A lot of movies do that, and I hate that too. But to me, this seems so excessive.
Maybe they thought that, not like if you were right next to the jet or whatever, whatever character, everything else is going to be louder.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what they were thinking. Like, so we should make this louder.
Yeah.
Right? But I'm not sure. I have to agree with you though that it was very hard to get through at times.
Yeah.
Very hard. And there was very few moments where I was like, okay,
right,
this is kind of cool.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, okay, so apart from like the philosophy of it, because that really didn't hit you, right?
Right.
What about the science fiction aspect of it? Were there aspects where you're like, okay, I could get into this? For example, the murderous clown dude who was the ISSP assassin.
Yeah, the assassin.
Yeah.
So that to me was like elements of the Joker in
right.
DC
That's what I was thinking.
Comics, like which I thought was kind of cool. It was a little excessive on the laughter where he started annoying me. Because I used to watch those, you don't, when you read the comics, it's not the same, but when you used to watch the Batman cartoons or something, like even the Joker didn't laugh that much, where I was like, Jesus Christ.
Well, I'm sure Mark Hamill could not be laughing that much.
I know,
right?
and I was like, what the fuck, man? Like this guy was getting annoying. Like he was cool, he was dope, but I was kind of confused because they didn't really touch on like why he had these like mystical, magical powers.
Oh, right, that he could fly.
Yeah, like he could do a bunch of shit, and I was like, they're gonna explain this, and they never really did. They never really did. He was just like a science experiment, but they're like, hey, maybe tell how he got that. Like he's able to like do all this shit, and they never did. So I was kind of like,
so you're disappointed with the science fiction aspect too? Like
in that one,
everything else.
The one, no. So the other thing that I did mention to you in terms of the science fiction aspect was, and this is the difference between, and I mentioned this as well. Star Wars to me gets away with a lot of the sci-fi flaws by the mere start of the movie, before the movie starts, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, which could possibly mean a completely different universe where maybe the laws of physics are different. This takes place within our solar system, and we have knowledge of planets that you can't terraform these planets. And so when they're like landing on like Jupiter, and Jupiter's around, like Jupiter's a gas giant, like no, like, so that to me, I was like, well, this is silly sci-fi. Like if this was taking place in a galaxy or a different universe, whatever, where I have no knowledge of these planets, then anything goes.
Right.
But when you're like saying like, oh, you're on Venus is too hot. Right. You can't terraform. Like, right. So that shit to me, I was like, this is retarded.
Yeah. When they landed on Venus in the one of the earlier episodes, it was like blue sky.
Yeah, and I was like
Earth.
I was like, you can't terraform it. It doesn't make sense. So yeah, that to me, I was like, I don't like that sci-fi aspect. I mean, the bullets and all that shit, like that's cool. I mean, you could totally, the bullet's gonna go forever in space, them flying their spacecraft. It was cool. Like that didn't bother me. They had like almost like little highways, like when they would go to a different planet, like these little loops.
Like
I thought that was cool.
The trucking episode.
Yeah, like that stuff was cool to me, but some of it I was just like, nah.
There's a wisecrack video, and it kind of answers that in a way, like why they did it that way.
Okay.
And it's.
I mean, I'm down to. It's on YouTube.
Yeah.
Let me add it to my watch later.
And I think it's called the philosophy of Cowboy Bebop.
So then, out of all the characters, which one was your favorite?
I jokingly said Ein.
Because he's your spirit animal. The corgi.
Yeah, because the corgi. When I saw, it, I was like, he's already my favorite.
Right.
But I probably liked Faye.
Why?
I thought Spike, even though he's like bad, because he's actually not that badass. He gets his ass kicked so many times. He's not that badass.
Because he's not going there to die. He's going there to see if he's alive.
Right, but I mean, even before then, I also, and this is a film noir aspect, but I also didn't care for his cool guy, like, oh, I'm gonna talk to you like this, you know? Like, shut the fuck up, dude. Like, I don't know. I didn't care for that. Faye she just seemed a little bit more like down to earth.
You have to also keep in mind Japanese culture, because like most animes,
they do that, and actually,
is like that.
Right before when you turned on the what's it called, Shampoo, that was like Spike's voice. I was like, immediately in my head, I was like, oh my god, this is fucking retarded.
Yeah, but it's literally like most. I don't want to say all, but most. It's like,
what do you mean? The voice? What do you mean?
No, not the voice. Like that persona, that suave character, like too cool to notice what the fuck's going on, like that, like Spike.
Okay,
like,
okay.
It's a common thing in Japanese culture.
But the thing is, like
animes that I've been exposed to.
It borders on being cocky, and after watching Spike get his ass handed to him multiple times, I was like, hey, you don't even deserve to speak like that. like you're not even that badass. Faye can kick your ass. Like, shut the fuck. Is this it? Wisecrack? All right. Yeah. So, I think that's probably why I didn't care for Spike. I actually, even though he was barely in it, I actually liked Shin. Even though he dies, I actually liked him. I was like, he's cool. He's doesn't have that cool voice. Doesn't insist upon itself. like he was just more, you know.
It's also 90s. So
yeah, I mean there's that, but that's kind of how I felt about it. But that was also why I was like, you know what? Let me give, because your other suggestion, but it wasn't my homework, was that you guys both said Avatar is a really, really dope ass.
And that one, I still stand by it.
Yeah, and
that one I think is great.
And I stand by that too. I was like, you know what? That one is really, 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 really dope. However, I did say it's technically not an anime.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not an anime.
And so I still have yet to find an anime that I'm into.
Right. Well, and we'll get to that, but hold on, we're not done yet.
Okay.
Because we do have to, you know, I think
One
cover
Punch
all
Man's
angles.
pretty cool.
What about the villains?
Hold on, pause. What'd you say?
One Punch Man.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. That we talked about that. Yeah, I may watch that next.
What about the villains in Cowboy Bebop? Because we talked about the heroes right now.
Yeah.
Right. So what about the villains of the story?
We touched on the villains a little bit. We talked about the clown,
right,
clown
but overall,
Joker guy.
Overall,
I feel like they actually weren't given enough story. It was mostly about the transients.
Okay.
Like, I don't really know much about Vicious.
Right.
Still. And
Right.
he's like the main guy that at the end, you know, where he's like, oh, I'm going to take over the syndicate. And you're just like, I need to know more. Like, maybe have more of a backstory. So
That's what the movie's for.
Is there a movie though?
So a movie came out after the show, and it kind of fills in.
Why don't you tell me to watch the goddamn movie?
It basically
because,
answers all that shit.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
it goes more.
is it live action or is it?
No,
still?
it's still animated.
I watched the movie. I mean, I'll definitely watch the movie.
There was going to be a Netflix adaptation.
I just saw that when I was on the thing where they showed different, and I was like, "Is there a live action?"
but
'Cause that'd be interesting.
There's a whole controversy on it.
I'll read that
It's been
article.
canceled like 3 times.
Yeah, we'll touch on that.
I'll reread that article.
We'll touch on that some other time. Any final thoughts on it before we move on? Because I think overall, I mean, we can nitpick it, but I don't see the point, especially since you touched already on the mundaneness, which is part of like the philosophy and stuff like that.
Yeah. Honestly, not really in terms of like final thoughts of it, because it didn't hook me. It didn't evoke any deep thinking out of me where, you know, for like I said, Avatar or Star Wars, like, and we've had these talks about Star Wars too, where like I'll ponder, but if I have some downtime, I'll think, oh, like, oh shit, they could do that. They could do like this. Didn't evoke any of that whatsoever.
Right.
So and so when I was done watching it, because I said it felt like work to me, I was like, oh, thank God I'm done with this. Like I know it's your favorite. Yeah. It was just, it was just like, man, like it just has a different meaning for you, and that's fine. That's cool. It was just it did nothing. It literally did nothing. I was like, all right, cool. We're done.
Well, I'm surprised you gave it a 6.5 though. That's what surprised me.
You thought I was
giving what you
thought you were going to give it lower. Yeah,
really? You were going to do like 2 or 3. From how you're talking about it right now, to me that sounds like a 2 or a 3.
To me, anything that's that low, I don't finish.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you.
I wouldn't finish. I would have called you and be like, hey, you know what? Deal's off. You can stop. Because like I can't handle it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Because the music, the music was cool when I'd have to turn it down for a bit because like the music's cool, but yeah.
Okay. All right. So then that settles that. The Cowboy Bebop. Okay. So now we have to switch to Star Wars.
Address this while I pour him.
All right. So I think we should follow the same format that I asked him, right, about the questions. Okay. Now, before we do begin, you know that Brian and I are like super hardcore fans, right? Like, so we obviously know a lot of detail, and we would obviously like for you to be able to go deep, just like how we did, because I think just like how you appreciate Cowboy Bebop, how you think it's great, how it's been there for you. That's essentially what it is for us, right? And the story has become so expansive that even if there's things that you didn't like about it, I'm pretty sure maybe some of the other movies or even the shows will redeem a lot of those aspects. But we did have you watch the movies, right? You watched the Skywalker for the most part, because you didn't watch the last 3 the sequel trilogy, right?
No.
Okay, all right. So okay, but that's okay though, because you're essentially you get that you have a good foundation now to move forward, even if you wanted to watch the sequels, right?
Yeah.
So okay, for you, overall, how did you feel about it? Overall, and then we'll get into detail.
It was pretty good.
Yeah. Because now you've heard this.
It didn't hook me where I was like, I need to watch the next one. But it kept me entertained, and I like the themes on it. I like the concept of the Force, like the parallels of it going on to either side. I thought it was pretty cool. I thought it was pretty good. And like I told you guys earlier, like the ones from the 70s, they still hold today, man. They still look great, especially on Disney Plus.
Right, but remember we have to add a caveat though. All that computer animation you saw in the ones from the 70s, those aren't the original cuts. Just
not all, only some scenes.
There's only some scenes.
A lot of it's still original.
Yeah, a lot of it is. I would say like 70%.
Yeah,
probably 70%.
Maybe more.
But there's been a lot of digital adaptations, so he won't re-release the theatrical versions.
Back in the 90s, right before they released the prequels, they released those in theaters with like digital updates, and so that's what you're seeing on Disney.
Yeah. So just so you know, it's not 70s tech; it's 90s tech. Right?
But
they're updated.
But that scene that he loves, the trench run where Luke goes into. That is 70s. That is 70s.
It's right before when they open up the of the X-wing.
Yeah.
That is digital.
Yeah.
But the whole trench run scene, as soon as they start attacking the Death Star, that is all 70s tech. And to me, that still has me on the edge of my seat every time I watch it.
Yeah.
Every time.
No, it's good. It held.
Now, okay, so then for let's see here. So you said you liked the concept of the Force. What did you like about it? What about the Force speaks to you? Especially when you saw who wields it and how.
It's the concept of power and the concept of being able to build or destroy on it. It's like it's about the equilibrium of life almost. Like you tip too much to one side and people will find you corrupt. You know?
Either way, right?
Either way, exactly. And I that's something that like I really, really like held on to. I was like, oh shit. Like I honestly the characters battling with the Force is the reason why I stayed watching the movies instead of like
the
characters themselves. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll get into the characters.
Right. But is there any moment then stuck with you when it came to the Force? Anything that really made you be like, oh, like because there's moments across the movies where the Force
Vader
really has
protecting his son
in Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi.
Okay,
that was the moment I was like, oh fuck, like you're not loyal to one side, like you can't teeter, like it's up to you to choose how you use the Force, not the Force decides how to use you.
Right. Yeah, because Vader's all about your destiny, right?
Yeah, exactly.
He would tell him, he's like, it's your destiny to be with me, right?
But his destiny was to create balance again.
Exactly.
And again, it's the balance.
So you got that. That actually goes over a lot of people's head.
Yeah.
No, that was the first thing I grasped.
Return of the Jedi is actually him.
Yeah.
He's the Jedi that returns. Yeah. A lot of people think it's Luke. And it's like, no, it's him.
It's him, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that goes over a lot of people's head.
And they mentioned it like he was the chosen one.
Right.
Yeah. And he still is. And at the end of the day, he reinstated balance in the Force.
Yeah.
Right.
By his actions.
That gives me goosebumps.
Yeah, every time it's good. It's good.
Love that story.
So then, out of the ones from the original trilogy, which one was your favorite? See, we're gonna start broad and then we'll go narrow.
Oh, you mean favorite movie?
Yeah. So Oliver, which one hit you the most out of the original trilogy? So which would be A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi?
Return of the Jedi is the one that like really stapled, like put everything together for me. That like. They put everything together and put it in a package. It was like, that's it.
Okay, perfect.
It's done. Like,
perfect.
That's it.
I like that.
Are you saying of all of them that you watched, or what he just asked? Because he's asking about the original trilogy.
Yeah.
Of those three movies,
Of those
that's
three
still
movies,
the favorite?
That's
okay.
still the favorite because,
Go ahead.
again, like in A New Hope, it's everyone's still new. You're barely getting to know everything.
Right.
In Return of the Jedi, you're expected to already know what the fuck's going on. So from that point, it's all like it's all climax and
right.
going down. So it's like to me that was the best.
Right.
Okay. A lot of people like Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, including this guy right here.
Of the original trilogy, yeah, that one to me is the best.
Yeah. But okay, so now that we've discussed the original trilogy, what about the prequel trilogy?
Well, you only gave them 2 to watch.
Okay. All right, fair enough. Out of the 2, which one did you like the most?
I like the one. Can you give me the names of them again?
So the
Attack of the Clones,
Attack of the Clones,
and then Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah,
Revenge of the Sith.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because it gave it filled in the blanks for who the fuck the Sith Lord was and how he became the way he is. Like even like his facial features.
You mean the Emperor and all?
The Emperor.
Yeah.
So like
did you see that coming?
I did.
Okay.
I did, but it was still cool to watch.
Which I actually don't think you see coming if you see the first one, for episode 1 first.
All right, potentially.
Mm-hmm.
But I was hoping he'd watch the first one after, because I told him to watch after he was done.
Nah,
if he wanted to.
I didn't.
Yeah.
Well, it's okay. We got through
because it was work to him. To him, it was like how Bebop was to me. I think
exactly.
It was kind of work.
Which is why I'm glad then I gave you that amount, because I think it's like you can handle that. You can power through it.
It was. I did catch myself smiling, laughing, and applauding a lot of times.
What do you mean?
So when I watch shit, I'm pretty monotone and stale. Where I don't. It's very rare for me to have like an actual physical reaction to a certain scene.
Mm-hmm.
But there was scenes where like I got off my seat and I was just like, "Fuck yeah!" Like
okay,
that
nice.
happened. Yeah,
there you go.
Pause. I remember one of my neighbors, and I think I texted you guys this. I could tell just by hearing, she was watching Revenge of the Sith. She's just like, "Oh, Anakin's a bad motherfucker."
Oh my god.
Yeah. So like I
shit.
mentioned to you guys a while back was in A New Hope, I think it's the throne room episode scene where they walk in.
Oh yeah, at the end.
At the end, yes, and it's like, that's one of the scenes where I got up and like.
Okay, so
nice.
Okay, so the celebration.
Yeah,
okay,
because it feels right because you got to see it rise.
You know what? Honestly, what triggers them? It's it's the music.
Yeah, the music.
You hear John Williams do that, you're like.
That's actually one thing I wanted to bring, is that maybe ties in with the Cowboy Bebop thing, but the score is like the music in Star Wars was so good.
He's a fucking legend.
So fucking good,
John Williams, dude.
Kills it. and many other films too.
Dude, he did the Indiana Jones films.
He's just
yeah. Those are all him. Like, to me, the one moment, and I want to ask you,
Mm-hmm.
how do you feel about this moment? Because to me, it's a big moment in A New Hope. Brian knows which one I'm talking about. Is when Luke, his uncle, told him, "You can't leave yet." He's like, "But why not? All my friends already went to the
Mm-hmm.
academy." He's like, "But I need you here.
Mhm.
I need you here for the tell me what the harvest." He's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
all right, whatever." But he walks out, and it's
Twin
sunset,
suns.
and he sees the twin suns, and he's staring off into the horizon, and then the way the music comes in.
Mhm.
To me, that makes me emotional. That's an emotional moment for me, because So, like, did you feel that at that moment, or were there specific moments where the music really hit with the scene?
Honestly, like, because I've taken Star Wars out of my head after watching it, like, and I've been dealing with some other shit that's been distracting me.
So you should watch it, Star Wars, again.
I can't pinpoint a lot of. I know there was a lot of them that, like, the music set the tone, and I was like, and it really made me focus more onto what was actually happening.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that I can really, really remember right now is in the newer ones when Anakin is, falling into the dark side, and you finally hear, like, the Darth Vader music slowly, dun, 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 like that was like, it was very subtle, and it wasn't something that takes up the entire background of it,
right.
So, but it's coming, so it's like foreshadowing. Like, I like that.
Oh,
Okay.
dude, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
In terms of music, Duel of Fates, which is in episode 1.
Oh, right.
During the battle of Maul, Obi-Wan.
That's a great, I know what you're talking about.
Dude, there's a scene there. 1, it's a dope fucking battle scene. And 2, the music that goes with it, you're like, fuck, killer. Like, that shit's dope. And I think you would appreciate that battle too.
Yeah. So actually, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think you should go watch episode 1 now, and then go watch, after that, go watch Rogue One. Yeah, because Rogue One, dude, was like, dude, I saw that movie 4 times.
I've seen it. In the
theaters. When the theaters came out, I saw it with Christopher Duvall first, and that one was when I was on the edge of my seat.
We didn't watch it together. You just saw it with him.
It was me and him, or you didn't go with us. I remember it was just me and him.
I remember watching the movie.
No, we went, but it was after him and I went.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. And then I went with my dad, and then I went with my mom.
Right.
And it was, dude, every time, bro, every time.
That's because there is a fucking scene at the end of the movie where you're just like, holy shit. You're just like, what the
exactly.
fuck?
So now I think, since you like, the attention to detail was there, dude. Like, you can you when you see those movies, it will literally, if there's any doubt about the films within your mind, it redeems it for sure. And it actually, to me, it adds a lot more.
Rogue One, for sure.
Yeah, Rogue One for sure.
Rogue One is
not about redemption. It's literally so much context and what's the word? Texture to it, to the story. It adds way more meat to the story, man. It's, like, really good.
Well, because without spoiling it too much, Rogue One is the tale that bridges the gap between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. And it takes place, like, right before A New Hope. And I think you might be able to appreciate this for the fact that there's really no Jedi or Force. It's all about, like, regular people. It's about the rebels and how they got the plans to destroy the Death Star. Like, that's what that story is about.
And you know who's in it?
Oh yeah,
because Donnie Yen is in it.
I've heard.
Yeah, Donnie Yen is in it. Yeah,
it's dope.
And then Diego Luna is in it too.
I've heard that too.
Right?
It's probably actually, like, my favorite, really, in terms of how, like you said, the attention to detail, how they tied everything in, the storyline, the fact that it's also modern, like using the modern CGI and modern filming. You're like, fuck, like, they kind of killed it on this one.
That was a good movie. It was a really good movie. So, okay. All right. The Force already has its philosophy to it. But is there any other philosophical aspects that you can appreciate? So, for example, I mentioned one, which is Luke staring off into the horizon, like, kind of like, when are things going to change for me? At least that's how I interpret it. Right? So, is there any other moments besides the Force that stood out for you? Because there is love, right? It's a story of love as well, right?
Hans Dolo was pretty
he
cool
loved Han
because
he's the Spike Spiegel.
Right, exactly. He's the original.
Yeah,
If we
he's
think
the
about it.
original. Yeah, he's the original.
Exactly.
He's the space bounty hunter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's not a bounty hunter.
No, that's what I told him. I was
Yeah.
like, my favorite characters were Jango Fett and Han Solo.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, because, yeah, like the to answer your question,
Who are human, by the way. That's why I said I think
Yeah.
he would like Rogue One, because they're not Force wielders.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
I'm trying to like the philosophy.
Yeah, because the Force is one aspect of it.
Yeah.
Right? Is one aspect of it. Because George Lucas, though, made it a story of family, too.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, you know, how we treat each other, all that kind of stuff, you know, why we do what we do. I mean, family's there. It's an aspect how we relate to one another. That's why I'm asking if there's anything else, right? Like, for example, like just connected to what you mentioned earlier about being in the extreme, right? Like Anakin, like felt trapped. They had to hide their love, right? Him and Padme. So did that ever ring a bell with you, or in any way, or any kind of anything along those lines? You see what I'm trying to get at?
No. Yeah, it did. But the Force one is just so powerful and it's so big, and it kind of like suffocates the movie, as in like where you're mostly focusing. Well, I mostly focused on the aspect of the Force and really paying attention to everyone else's little fucking problems.
Really? So not even Han. So at the end of A New Hope, when it's the music is like super intense, he's getting towards the end where he's about to shoot the missiles.
No, I like
and
that.
Vader's on there, and he goes, "I have you now." When Han shows up again,
it was
right?
It was a celebratory moment.
Yeah. So that like because he changed his ways, right? He didn't believe in anything, you know. I mean, they explain his backstory too.
They explain it in his own
movie. Right.
But that's his common theme. That's his character, where he is a scumbag,
like last minute,
savior. But really deep down, actually, Han Solo is me. Everybody thinks I'm an asshole, but deep down, I'm actually not. Like that's him.
He's misunderstood.
Yeah, that's who Han is. I fucking love Chewie too.
I think, I'm gonna stay to my word. Like I was more focused on the Force, that it's the only thing that really caught my attention, because and I think it's also because I've heard you two talk about it and the Force and everything, that I was like, okay, then like I have to pay attention to this shit, because I know this is important, because they keep fucking talking about it.
Well, there's an Oedipus, there's an Oedipal complex that occurs with Anakin that is deep, especially you could see it definitely in episode 2 and beyond, where you know he tries so hard to prevent something from happening, but he basically overcompensates, and as a result, it happens. Yeah. And so there's that philosophy. There's that theme that occurs.
Doing bad things that come off as good.
Yeah, there's that. I mean, also like there's one thing to consider that I feel like a lot of people kind of forgot or didn't really understand. A lot of people hate on the dialogue, especially of the prequels, but George Lucas himself has said this is a space opera. It's a space soap opera, which is why it's a tale of family. There's the Force, and maybe because like you said you heard us talking about it, that's where your focus was, but it's really a tale of family. And
I see that.
Yeah, and so you definitely see that with the father in the prequels, which is Anakin. Then you see it with the son and Leia a little bit as well. And actually, in the newer ones, the tale is mostly about Leia.
It's fucking with the whole idea of the nuclear family in a way.
Nuclear.
Right, exactly. So, okay, so then since you were so focused on the Force, okay, so now we can talk about the characters. Which one was your favorite character?
He said
Han and
Jango.
Han and Jango?
Yeah.
Okay. 2 humans.
So who were your least favorite character? Or characters?
C-3PO.
He is annoying. 3PO is annoying.
And
he's useful, but he's annoying.
Yeah, 3PO was annoying, and the fucking
if you say R2 is annoying, I'll kill you.
I like Arturito.
Yeah, I love R2.
Arturito.
Yeah.
The Emperor.
The Emperor's annoying.
I didn't like him, even though he was badass. He fights pretty cool. against Yoda and shit. But like,
well, not even that. Like, he's a fucking genius.
no, he's a genius. But
I like it. I guess he's clearly one of your favorite.
Yeah.
He's not
characters.
like that. He's like my favorite. Like, yeah, he's a fucking piece of shit. But like, you gotta respect
yeah,
that.
evil genius.
Okay.
Like,
You're like,
but,
holy shit.
But it just, I don't know. Like, it felt too, like, it's like I'm trying to like put it in like the proper.
See, this is why I'm asking these tough questions.
No, it's just like I just didn't like him. Like,
Well, yeah, I mean, he's not someone you're supposed to like,
no, but you can appreciate
and you didn't appreciate it.
you can appreciate quote unquote greatness or evilness on whatever.
So you didn't appreciate.
Not really. I didn't think it was that elaborate. I mean,
This is why he needs to watch episode 1.
I know, but now,
Yeah.
I told him to do it. He didn't listen.
Right, but I'm saying that's why you need to watch it linearly.
Well,
Yeah.
that's a different debate.
Yeah.
But the whole point is, I did tell him to watch episode 1. Now I said, get through these movies. If you feel like you can get through them, then watch episode 1. I did say that.
When episode 1 will tie in as to
Actually, I
how
think he would
elaborate.
I think he would hate it because it's so slow. He might actually be like, ugh. I'm all for it. I'm not hating on it because now I think to me
With the
prequels are
amount of
great.
hours he's put in, I put in more hours with Bebop. He could do that.
which is why I told him to watch it after he was done. I told him, let me know when you're done watching it so you could watch episode 1.
If you see it from the beginning because you see essentially him rise even more, and you see how he gets to where he was in episode 2, 3, and so on and so forth.
So if you're willing to do it again, now watch it linearly. Like now go through the whole thing from the beginning.
Or just watch episode 1 and
yeah.
then Rogue One.
Yeah.
Because I don't think you're that much of a fan where you're like, I'm going to watch these movies again. So yeah, because the Emperor, to me, what he does is super elaborate. And granted, we also went really balls deep in watching the cartoons, so we have even more context of how
Right.
badass like he's crazy. Like that's that galaxy's Hitler, but maybe even better because he was smoother.
And I was gonna say it had a very like Hitler feel to it,
Right.
Even down to like the uniforms.
Exactly.
And shit. Like,
Exactly. It's the fascism.
mhm.
Yeah.
I like the ones from the 70s better.
Those movies.
I like those movies better than the newer ones.
Okay.
What about it?
Aesthetic.
The 70s aesthetic, the analog tech.
The
all the
analog,
buttons and stuff.
yeah, I like that. I actually mentioned it to you, and I don't know if it's because of the years in the difference in production. So, for example, like the 70s ones, the spacecraft were blockier. They were.
You did mention that to me.
It looked like the era, and the 2000s ones, they looked like saucers. They looked more round, more like
Clean.
yes, like sleek, less
Yes.
buttons, more
you-
lasers.
But you also understood why.
And I said to Brian, it's like because the ones from the 70s is like post-apocalyptic. It's like scraps. It's like people
Right.
rebuilding from junk. So that could mean that could kind of like explain why. 'Cause how like before the war and everything, it was like a civil republic and it was pristine, you know?
Beautiful, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I get it, but I don't know. I like that grittiness.
Yeah, but you like the grittiness because you like post-apocalyptic things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Cowboy Bebop.
That's
is
why you like that.
post-apocalyptic.
What is mostly film noir stuff? It's dark. It's
Yeah.
it's gritty like that. Like, you like that style. So then you just like the 70s ones purely off aesthetic then?
No, and then because again, the Return of the Jedi is my favorite. Is my favorite out of all of them.
Yeah.
The ones that I've seen. That I don't know, like it just fit. Like them being in
That's
the
interesting because
jungle.
actually Return of the Jedi is usually the least favorite.
I like it though a lot. It's up there for me.
I
But that's
like it,
because of
but-
the throne room scene, the final battle.
But let me ask you, of the original trilogy, you like Return of the Jedi the best?
It's hard,
See?
dude. No, I'm not saying because I like it the best.
Right.
Probably to me that I've so far in my life, the significance that I've taken from those 3 films
Yeah.
is probably Return of the Jedi. Honestly, for me, and how I've applied it to my life, like what it means to me, right? Like
But
you throw the
just that-
lightsaber
but
away.
just-
So
no.
that's why it's hard because there's so many moments.
No, but
in
just
it
as
that just-
as a film overall, you were watching that as a film.
no, New Hope
See,
as a
that's
film,
what
A
I'm
New
saying.
Hope because the trench run, dude, every time,
Yeah.
every time. Dude.
See, to me, it's Empire for 2 reasons. Overall, the film's cool. I like darker undertones. It ends on a dark note.
On a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
2, the philosophy where the philosophy that you get when he finally meets Yoda and he's beginning his teachings with Yoda.
I was going to ask him the next question.
That to me trumps everything else in the original trilogy. So that it goes 2, 1, 3. If we're so in 5, 4, 6.
Right.
Yeah.
So okay, let's jump on that. Yoda, how did you feel about him?
I like Yoda's need for redemption through the Skywalkers because he failed against the Emperor.
Right.
I like that. This before going into it and learning that, I just assumed that Yoda was the unbeatable Jedi.
So good.
The guy that like the one that you call when you're in trouble.
He's Palme.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's Palme. Yeah,
so
yeah.
and then when I got to see how vulnerable and when he lost basically, right. and he even says I failed. Yeah. Like I was like, whoa, like he dropped down to my level. I got to see, it's almost like I got to see the real him,
Right.
So he's CGI and a puppet.
In the original, he's a puppet.
The original is a puppet, yeah. Jim Henson. So okay, that's cool. Yeah, because I do like Yoda, especially even actually, I love his story. I want to start reading the High Republic book, which is now takes place before all that. It takes place, I think, 100 years before that.
Which will be even more pristine.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Even the artwork is like that. But because I do like exactly that. He is the Grand Master. And everybody admits Yoda's the guy. Because he's so old.
The Hickson Gracie.
Right. He's doing 400 wins, 0 losses. Like that. Yeah. Like that, right? And so, yeah, exactly. His need for redemption, right? To do things a certain way. And once you see the sequel trilogies, he's one of my favorite characters because of what he does in the sequel trilogy.
It's cool how he stayed true to the... I just lost the word. The
Jedi.
No, the prediction, that the Skywalker,
the prophecy,
the prophecy that the Skywalker was supposed to recreate the balance. Like when he fought against the Emperor, it was almost like because he had doubts in Anakin. He was like he's being corrupted. Like we
right,
and it was like I got to do this on my own. I got to fix this on my own. And then he failed. And he was like, no, I have to stay to the prophecy. Like it's not me who's doing this. Like it has to be him.
And if you realize after now putting it all together, it's Obi-Wan through the Force Ghost voice that actually makes Yoda realize that by training Luke, that's the catalyst to fulfill that prophecy. Because Luke changes Vader, and so it's Obi-Wan that convinces Yoda. Like no,
yeah.
I was stubborn too.
Yeah.
You know.
So was I, if you remember. Yeah. So before we leave Yoda, what did you think of the going into the cave when he goes into that area? What did you think of that when Vader appears to him in the cave? You know what scene I'm talking about, right?
I need to.
So okay, all right. So remember in
Dagobah.
So when he's on Dagobah, remember when he's training with him, right? So. Well, maybe I should ask you this first. What did you think about the lifting the X-wing out of that? And he's like, I can't believe it. He's like, that's why you fell.
Yeah, exactly. I thought that was pretty cool.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. See, that's a martial arts thing.
Yeah, it's a martial arts thing. Yeah,
right.
It's like.
Yeah. So the next question is related to the martial arts thing. I think when he goes into that he's like, I sense a darkness, right? And he's like, what is the line? What is it?
What's in there, and it says only what you take with you.
Exactly that. Remember, he goes in there, and then he sees Vader approach.
Yeah.
And then you remember they fight briefly, and then he cuts the helmet off.
Yes.
And then the mask explodes, and he sees himself.
Yes. Okay, yeah, I remember that now.
So what did you think about that?
It was part of the training. It was what he needs to overcome to eventually overcome the evil, which in a way was himself. Like he needed to beat the evil in himself to be able to bring light to the darkness that was ahead of him.
Right.
And I thought that was pretty cool. And it also kind of foreshadowed at the whole no. They already revealed that he was his father.
Not
yet, right? So it kind of foreshadowed to there was already some connection between Luke and Anakin or Darth.
Yeah. Right, exactly.
Maybe that it wasn't just of the quarrel that was going on, but maybe a blood thing. You never know.
Right, exactly.
Maybe so he sees himself in him
because that's his daddy.
Which actually you do see in Return of the Jedi. Luke for a second goes dark.
Yeah. He chokes people, right?
No. When Luke is fighting Vader, he goes really hard and cuts his hand off.
Yeah, he's like this. He's like, he goes crazy. He for a second
he's all like your sister, and then I was like, no, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
he chose his feelings instead of what the Jedi say. Where you detach, he chose his feelings. And then there's also the similarities where he gets his hand cut off. Vader has his hand cut off. You know.
And I think it's Obi-Wan or Yoda who says the line like, "You need to learn to let go."
Yeah, let go, Luke, in the trench run.
Yeah.
He says that, yeah.
Well, so
they both have a similar thing because Yoda says you must unlearn what you have learned.
Right.
Yeah.
I do want to touch on Obi-Wan as well, but before we do that,
he's my favorite.
Before we do that, how did you feel then after he okay, so remember they have a conversation on Dagobah. They're like, but they're my friends. I can't let them die. And he's like, well, if you value what they fight for, you will let them die.
Yeah.
Right? That's what Yoda tells him. And then guess who appears?
It's the revolutionary suicide aspect of it.
Right. Well, but Obi-Wan appears and he's like, I don't want to lose you to the dark side, right? But he decides to go anyway. He actually violates that principle, right? Which I think was important, right? But how did you feel then once he finally fights Vader on Cloud City? How did you feel about that? Especially leading up to the big moment.
It was good. I mean, it was it just felt like another fight in the movie to me.
Really? Not even the whole when he cuts his hand off and then he's crawling away from him? Like, you weren't invested in that?
I was invested, but it was just like...
I think when you... Because now that I'm older, and especially after I saw the prequels, God, that is such a lame fight scene.
Right. The sword fighting is poorly choreographed.
Honestly, I think that's one of the things that turned me off.
Yeah, it takes you out, like,
because like the movements are so slow, dude.
And there's a production reason behind it, actually straight from the director. The lightsaber originally was supposed to be like a heavy two-handed weapon. So that's where there was like a continuity issue where like the old fight scenes they're like this all the time, but the prequels they're moving very like quick, like samurai.
Yeah. And
so that's kind of why there's a discrepancy between the fight scenes a lot.
Yeah, like that's, I'm not gonna lie, dude. The fight scenes,
they're hard to watch.
They're just
even in the prequels.
I like the ones in the prequels. I like the prequels better, dude. Like,
dude, that scene where Obi-Wan and Anakin throw down, you're like,
yeah, dude.
You're like, fuck, that's
okay. But hold on. But let's
I know we derailed. Sorry, okay. I get a nerd boner.
How did you feel when Vader finally revealed to Luke that he's his dad?
It's pretty cool. I hate that pop culture ruined that for me.
Yeah.
Oh right, yeah. See, that's tough.
And that is why I said just watch it linear.
No, it's okay.
Because his whole reason for making you watch it that way was because that to him is the most important factor of the storyline.
One of them.
It's the shock value that Vader is his father.
Yeah.
However, because of pop culture, we all know Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's father. And that is why I said just watch it like you're reading a book front to back.
Okay, right. But hold on. When I spoke to him, because there's a whole nother conversation that I think
that I wasn't involved in if you spoke to him.
So I spoke to him and I told him, because he asked me, well, why are you having me watch it like this? And I said, because
Georgie told me to watch it.
No, because I told him I think that there's a lot of elements of the storytelling that because we watched it
We watched its theatrical release.
Right,
version.
Exactly. We missed out on certain elements of it that in this, for example, when Empire Strikes Back, you're like, what's going to happen?
Yeah, no.
Right? It was a big moment. And I know that you, hold on.
How it made the story go from high to low to high.
Exactly.
And like, I like that.
That's the point.
It helped with the overall arc of the story.
Exactly. And that's the point because he mentioned to me, hold on. Let me finish
that because I don't see that, but finish that.
Well, okay. Well, the point is that I know how he likes his storytelling. It's the MF Doom thing. And he takes you for a ride. So when you watch it in this version, especially this was his first time watching it, it does start off like, action and then it's dark, right? It dips immediately. And then you go back and then like, okay, what's going on here? So you end on a high note. It all ends with Return of the Jedi. It ends on a high note, right? And like he said, it does this. And that's precisely what the theories have about watching it in machete order.
And you don't think it does that if you do it?
No, because of exactly how George Lucas had told the story. He tells the story right in the middle. That's where it starts. and then he goes back, right? And that's the whole idea. So I was like, how can he get the best of those things without going into it too much? Because I want to move on to Obi-Wan. That's why.
Well, let's pause before we get to Obi-Wan because you still haven't seen episode 1, so I won't.
I told him to.
Right,
for the record.
right. I know, but what I'm not gonna spoil it too much, even though you know the gist of the story. To me, episode 1, the ending, it actually ends with a little bit of chaos because there's a major victory. There's a lot of uncertainty. So immediately when you're talking about where's this going, to me, episode 1, where is this going? Then there's a little bit more revealed with episode 2, which you saw, where you're like, oh shit, the clones happen. You clearly see that there's some sort of plot going down. Obviously, episode 3 is like, whoa, we went dark.
Right.
Then there's a New Hope. It comes back up. Then it goes back down with Empire, and then it ends up. So what you're saying is the same thing. It's the same thing.
I disagree. But like I said, okay, because I want to focus on the meat of the films. I think we can have this debate at a different time. But
All right, talk about Obi-Wan.
But either way, it still worked, right? Because there was a reveal. Because how did you feel about, before we get to Obi-Wan actually, because you mentioned it, it's about reveal and cliffhangers and stuff like that. It's the way
it helped with the twist.
Exactly, the twist.
Twists.
It adds twists, exactly. So emotionally, yeah, you get that effect, but the twist, and he loves twists. He loves twists.
I still don't see where the twists are.
Because Leia, and that's what I was going to ask him, how did you feel when they revealed that?
What's Leia, being the sister?
Yeah, right.
Because
you get that if you just watch the original trilogy, though.
Yeah, but we stopped at Empire and he goes back to, and then he doesn't jump into Return of the Jedi until he sees Padme. That's the whole idea.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So how did you feel about Leia's involvement?
I liked it
Because you have a sister too,
yeah,
right?
I liked it because it was like, I know an inside secret that he doesn't know yet.
Yeah.
Okay, so check this out. You
good.
still get that twist if you watch it Georgie's Way.
I guess.
Because Georgie's Way was theatrical release, which is original trilogy first. You still get that twist.
No, but
because you still find out it's the sister.
But when Padme dies, who's born first?
Leia. But that's not...
No, Luke is born first. Luke and then
whatever.
Leia.
Yeah.
But you see, that's the point of the twist. You see what I'm saying? Like you're right.
But it's the reveal that it's the sister that's the twist. But like I said, you still get that if you watch it.
No, but then Luke doesn't Luke doesn't know. You get it once you watch it, but Luke doesn't know, and you know that Luke doesn't know. You see what I'm saying? So there's various twists. Okay, whatever.
No.
Oliver gets it. But the point is, okay, now let's move to Obi-Wan. How did you feel about Obi-Wan as a character?
Thought it was cool, but I wish that he would have done a better suicide.
Instead of just going like this?
Yeah. I for some reason,
I wasn't expecting that.
That's 70s shit. That's why.
I liked it.
For some reason,
I liked the way he went.
Because
were you expecting that?
He was cornered. Yeah, I was, because he was cornered. He had nowhere to fucking go. So it was either or
that's what you.
So you rather have him fucking full on fall on his sword?
I thought he was gonna pull out a vest,
blow what? I like the way he went out because he looks at Luke.
He looked.
Like, all right, watch what's gonna happen.
Yeah. This won't be the last time you see me.
Right, exactly.
The look he gave him.
Exactly.
But again, I wish he would have gone out with a bang, dude. Taking someone out with him, that's just me. But no, it was cool. I like again with the Yoda of that, I am the teacher, I am someone to look up to, but I will make mistakes. And
which you see evident in the I just saw episode 2 again last night.
And he's harsh on him.
I was watching it with someone, and they asked because of his relationship with Anakin, and they were like, "Do they like each other?" And I was like, "No, they do. It's a complicated relationship and
conflict of interest,
and one where the master is not that much older than the student, and 2, the student's ability and potential is going to surpass the master very, very quickly. However, he lacks the experience that the master has. And so that is what the master still has to teach.
It's refining that raw talent.
Right. And so I said, they like each other, but also because of the age difference, it's less of a father figure and more of an older brother. And that's where it's...
or a young dad who doesn't really know. Right?
Yeah,
because
exactly.
he's really mean to... He's kind of, well, not mean, but he's really strict with Anakin. Really strict. And he takes a different approach with Luke.
Yeah.
I want to admit something to you guys. I tried watching episode 1. but then I saw.
Why are you hiding this whole time?
Because I didn't finish it.
You see, I told you.
I didn't.
I'm glad.
I didn't.
Yeah,
I'm glad it was at the end.
I didn't.
But
I
the thing-
didn't
but the
like
thing is-
Anakin being a kid, and then the girl.
Well, that's interesting because I don't think you saw that coming, did you?
And
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Oh yeah.
and Natalie
Big time.
Portman.
That's why.
Natalie Portman looking the same.
She doesn't look the same.
But she's like, like she looks at Anakin in one movie, then the next one's like, hey.
Well, so I was asked that question last night, and she was like, they were like, "What's the age gap?"
I think it's a few years.
And I said
It's like 5
I said
years.
actually it's probably 8 years
But yeah, 5.
because she is the queen
Mhm.
in the first one, and so you figure she's a very young queen at 18. Anakin's 10. So by the time it's episode 2, which they say he's 10 years older, so Anakin's 20 at that point, she's got to be around 28. At that
Yeah,
but the thing at that point, like, yeah, now
Yeah.
like, yeah, you know, when you're 20 years old, you're a grown man, you know, so it's like, yeah, there it is. She's gonna look the same because 28's still young.
Yeah.
Trust me, I'm in my 30s. 28.
Right. No, I mean, people will still say, they would say you're 20.
But it's just crazy how much different Anakin.
Right.
I know what
Well,
you're
I
saying.
mean, different
Right.
actor, but yeah, you're right.
Right.
You're right.
And, okay. So, okay. See, you could have told us, but okay. That's okay. But that's good. I appreciate you saying,
And-
telling us that.
And I didn't like. Well, it's not that I didn't like.
Jar Jar Binks.
I was gonna say.
Everybody hates Jar Jar.
I was actually gonna bring up Jar Jar right now in how.
It's like I actually liked them.
Well, supposedly that actor got suicidal.
Well, I'm
Really?
sure because of all the hate mail.
All the
Yeah,
hate.
dude,
So-
he was so hated.
I don't know. I don't know about
Yeah.
that. But so what it's cool that like I watched the other ones first, and like try to dip my toes in episode 1 because Jar Jar is a character of importance in the other ones, and in the first one they just kind of make him look like
He's the comic relief.
an Ugats, yeah, like
Right,
Yeah.
but you see him evolve in that movie.
No, I didn't see that.
I know because you stopped watching the movie.
Yeah,
But this is why I wanted you to watch it this way. And the reason why is because this was essentially homework for you, homework for me in terms of Bebop.
Mhm.
You stopped watching episode 1 already because you're like, eh.
Yeah.
However, if you were to watch it first, you wouldn't have that opportunity to say,
wouldn't. Yeah,
because you would have had to fulfill your commitment.
Well,
And that is why he should have watched it
because
first.
either way, they are movies. So it's a big chunk of time. It's a practical thing. It's a practical thing as well. Like in terms of sitting down and having to watch it. I mean, look, he's agreeing with
You
me.
can
It's
still
a
pause it.
practical
What do you
thing.
mean? What do you mean?
No, but that's what I'm trying to. Oh, Bill, you want to make it through the movie. You don't want to pause it in the middle of the movie. An
I've
episode's
paused plenty of
different.
movies.
I can't do that.
You can't do that. Yeah,
Well, there's
exactly.
something wrong with you
So you see, to me, it's a matter of let's get the good story. It's like it's there. It's still there.
Mhm.
But I still think you need to finish it because he did fulfill his commitment. I think what would be fair is if you power through it, and you should have. Like I said, I told him power
It get-
through it now.
Especially the ending.
Yeah, you'll love the
It's
ending.
like
And
the
see-
last
yeah.
40, 45 minutes,
Mhm.
Yeah,
maybe even almost an hour, is like, hell yeah.
yeah. Finally, dude, because it's a slow climb, bro. It is a slow climb. But I appreciate it though. I appreciate
It's
it.
slow for a reason because it actually is. The point of that movie is literally setting up the context for the rest of the films.
Mm.
The political turmoil.
Okay.
How, for example, the emperor, devised this whole thing. Because once you watch that, you're like, holy shit, he did this and this and that in order to set up this and that.
And just so you know, is that when that movie came out, I remember watching it in the theaters.
1999.
Yeah, I remember seeing it in the theaters, right? It was a big deal. We had to sit in the very front because it was packed. And as soon as
I didn't. I bought tickets.
Like everybody's like screaming, dude. But I remember it got very bad reviews. Like people were
Horrible.
disappointed by it a lot. And because of that, right? That was part of it. But now that
It was mostly
again,
Jar Jar because of
it was
that.
mostly Jar Jar, but also the whole the how long it takes, right? So, but the reason why I appreciated it a whole lot more now and will watch it, and I actually watched it not too long ago, is the fact that all of the other stories, like the cartoons and everything else, redeems it, right? Now that you see it in the broader context, you're like, oh, this movie's great. It's great at that point. By itself, like when you're a little kid, when I was a little kid, I was like, oh, this is cool. And then but he didn't make it through, so I'm not gonna ruin like the end up for him. But I was like, hell yeah.
So check this out. It's called Episode 1 because it's a series, right?
Mhm.
it's like a lot of good / great shows. The first episode isn't very compelling. But once you get through it and then you reflect, you're like, oh, it sets up a lot. There's a lot of information in there. And that to me is what episode 1 is. Everybody hates on episode 1, but actually when you rewatch it after, knowing a bunch of shit, you're like, oh, they actually did a lot of homework here.
Right. Which is why though I still think you should still go back and finish it. And I'm glad the order worked out for you.
It's actually Fern's favorite. It's kind of funny.
Because I did think,
Fern's
did you notice
Omar just messaged me.
Did you notice Keira Knightley in it though, dude? Did you notice Keira Knightley in it?
No, I didn't.
Well, I don't know how far he got. How far did you get into it?
Yeah, how far did you get into it?
Just seeing Anakin as a kid.
So he got
as soon as they got to Tatooine.
Yeah,
done.
Yeah, pretty much. I saw like 5 minutes. Like,
yeah, so you see Keira Knightley.
You do see Keira Knightley.
Keira Knightley.
You have great parking space or parking selection.
Oh yeah, tell him my bad, dude.
Right. But yeah, you see Keira Knightley. She's the other queen.
Right.
Whatever. It's not I just wanted to give him a fun fact. But anyway, okay. But go back and finish watching.
White women anyway.
So I'm trying to think now. Okay, Anakin. Now we haven't really discussed Anakin in detail.
Okay.
How did you feel about Anakin's story?
Wait, sorry, Omar's messaging me. Oh, he says I'm down here.
All right. We'll buzz him in. Tell him.
I don't know why he's texting you.
Yeah,
Here. Let me just text him. Go for it.
Yeah. So how did you feel about Anakin? Vader's story.
I liked it.
You liked it?
I liked it. I liked it because, in a way, he was how he got dark, how he got manipulated.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we've all experienced some version of it or some.
Right.
The hand of wisdom.
So bring it all back.
Hey, real quick too. I remember when you showed me when he was all about it, and he showed me the video of his master. He was dressed in all black,
like Vader.
But anyway,
I like that he. I don't know if I'm going on a limb for saying this, but would you say that he became dark in, like, because he had to take care of his family?
No, I think he felt he was caught between two extremes and he didn't know that there was a middle path. Which, if you watch now the other stuff, you will see there is someone who takes a middle path, right? And which is precisely what they explore.
So, can I ask you? Sorry,
Go ahead.
To cut you off.
Go ahead.
Because I think the Natalie Portman
hot
asks him.
She's beautiful.
I don't know if it was Anakin or Natalie Portman. Yeah, she's. If it was Natalie Portman or Anakin that says, "Are we on the wrong side?"
Oh, yes, Natalie Portman.
Yeah, okay.
It was Padme. Yeah.
So she says, like, "Are we on the wrong side?"
Right.
Like, who are we fighting for, or like who is right, who's doing what?
Right. Exactly.
And I think that was pretty.
Well, to conclude, basically, I felt that Anakin thought that there was only two paths that you can take as opposed to the middle path, right? Mm-hmm. Which is what kind of Padme was pointing out. And like I said, there is another character, right, who does decide to take the path. And there's been discussions about this, right? Like, what if Anakin would have left the Jedi Order? He probably would have felt free, instead of going to the Sith, right? Let's say he leaves the Jedi Order, but instead says, no, I'm not going to follow your way. I'm going to do things my way, pursue my happiness and find my own balance. But he's stuck between those two extremes. And so I think he felt that, well, the Jedi have always been hard on him. They don't allow him to have they tell him it's wrong to love your mother or to be so attached to her. It's wrong to Jedi can't love, right? They can't be in a relationship.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
They have to be.
So that's why, there's another guy who says, I can have what I want. Sure. But I have to submit to him too.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, again, we've all been there. We've all experienced that type of manipulation.
So wrapping that up, because I feel like we spent a lot more time on Star Wars than Cowboy Bebop.
Bebop was not much to talk about, to be honest.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, for him, I'm sure he could talk about it longer. But
Right.
So to get to the ultimate, because we asked what my rating was, what is your rating 1 through 10?
7.5.
Okay.
Oh, that's pretty good.
And the 0.5 is being generous.
Really?
Okay,
Okay.
I
I was expecting lower.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't think he would like it.
No,
because of the lasers. Remember everything he told us.
Right, but if you notice, he didn't even mention that.
I know.
Right, which
because
surprised me.
I tried to not pay attention to that. I tried to. Actually,
He tried to. He had to put effort.
I had to.
So it still bothered you.
I love
Yeah,
it.
it still bothered the fuck out of me.
Really? Wow.
Even the light speed thing and all that.
And let me tell you, landing on Jupiter fucking bothered me.
No, like
Read a damn textbook, all right?
but like the philosophy aspect.
Exactly.
That's
Okay.
what I like.
Okay.
That's what took me in.
So then real quick, because we basically were giving it an overall score. Philosophically speaking, which one would you say spoke to you a lot more? Maybe it's a hard question to answer.
I don't think it's that hard. I think it was Bebop because of...
No.
Oh.
You see? Exactly.
No.
Damn,
again,
I'm good.
and it's because of this point in life.
Okay.
So I saw Bebop twice, I can say. I mean, I've seen it way more times, but like significant times. Like
Right.
one with my friends where like, I liked it for another reason, the music and everything. And then I saw it when the breakup, and then I got to experience it like that. Seeing Star Wars now as an adult, and like actually like what I'm going through at work right now, where I'm like literally having to choose sides for mutual gain or benefit.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's that like maybe there is a middle path.
Oh, he's got to watch the cartoons now.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Oh,
dude,
you got to watch the cartoons now, dude.
It's
see?
like I noticed that again. The equilibrium. It's like when you try to be too nice. We have a saying in Spanish. It's like te ofrezco la mano, pero me agarras de los pies.
Right,
Like,
but you can't be cruel either, right?
yeah, and then if you get too cruel, it's like it just creates so much turmoil. It's about finding that perfect balance, the equilibrium of my force.
Mhm,
Right.
Exactly. Yes. You see. So then, do you think you would give a higher rating in the philosophy, or do you think it's just not comparable that way?
No, it's just again.
It's just the time.
I don't know.
It's not comparable.
Like, say I would have seen the Star Wars when I'm not going through this in my life, where I maybe wouldn't be.
I feel like you would have given a lesser score then.
Yeah, probably. Probably.
There you go.
Again, it all goes to my personal experiences and how I can relate and connect to it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So again, I held Bebop up so high. I still held it up because it helped me overcome something that I was dealing with in my personal.
Right.
So then, are they even, or is Bebop still higher?
No, they're pretty even.
Oh, okay. See, there we go. See, well, what is yours? Just say it. Just say it so it could be on the record.
That just warms my heart.
Okay,
that
we can just
warms
say it.
my heart. What do you mean?
Wait,
Say
so
what?
obviously, Star Wars is what way up here for
To
you?
me, well, yeah. To me, Star Wars is way better.
Okay.
Star Wars, but also I've done way more work.
Well, we've done way more.
Right. Yeah. like I said, the cartoons.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm on the forums every day now.
Oh,
But
right.
you know what I mean. Like I've done a lot more. We've also seen The Mandalorian, which I still think actually you would like,
You would love it.
regardless of even seeing the films. I think if you were to watch The Mandalorian, it would make you want to watch the films because I think it's right up your alley. If you like Jango Fett, The Mandalorian is basically
Like his origin, or
no, The Mandalorian. Well, it touches on Jango Fett, but Jango Fett is a Mandalorian. Mandalorian's a type of people.
oh, okay.
So I think you would
creed.
like The Mandalorian.
Okay.
It's like that group of people is like the Spartans of that galaxy. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I think you'd be into that. Anyway. All right. Yeah.